Hello, hello. This is Nina Erjavik, Stampin' Demonstrator in the U.S. And this is my journey through the catalog, day number 9. So we're working on page 89 of our annual catalog. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. We only have one more day of this series, and that will be on Thursday. So let's dive into this one. We're going to do this one right here, and we're going to C.A.S.E, which means copy and share everything, or copy and selectively edit. So we're going to do this one. So we are going to use terrific Toadstools photo polymer stamp set, and that one looks just like this. This is so cute. It does have a die, not a die, it has a punch, which is the terrific Toadstools. So it punches out this stem, this toadstool top, and this one here. So this is the punch out for these. Okay, and then the stamps look like that. Yes, I have used them. That's why they are dyed colored. It doesn't hurt them any. It's just the pigment and the ink just dyes the photopolymer, which is still stamps the same. Okay, so let's get started on this one. Okay, let's move some things. I did some things already just to kind of help with the process. We are going to use this set here, which is the right words. We are going to use the happy birthday, and we're going to use this one here to someone worth celebrating every single day. This is an inside and an outside stamp set, so you have the sentiment, and then you also have the saying for the inside. Okay, so let's put that aside here. We are going to use the 2025-2027 in colors, and that is this here. So this is Strawberry Slush, and this is the cloud cover. We're going to have some white cardstock for our card base, a white inside. So this here is going to be for the inside of the card. So we'll get to that here in just a minute. We do need a strip of paper 7/16 of an inch wide, and it doesn't matter how long because we're going to trim it down. And then these here are, I just don't want you to watch me have to fussy cut. So, all right, we also are going to use some white Baker's Twine from the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. So we'll be doing that as well. We're going to do a little bit of splattering, so we will show you that here shortly. So let's go ahead and glue this piece down to our card base. We are going to use the Tombow liquid, multi-purpose liquid glue. Maybe. I just used it just a little bit ago, so I don't know why it is not going to work with me. Hold please. Okay, I think I have one that works. So we are going to glue this panel. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel that we are going to glue down to our card base. Just making sure that I have that I actually have the fold at the top. I guess it really doesn't much matter, but I wanted my paper to be right side up. So I'm just smearing the glue around so we don't have any lumps and bumps underneath the paper. And there is a little white edge here, so we are going to trim that off using our paper trimmer. And we're just going to trim a little bit of that off. And that happens when you cut your paper. Depends on if you're right on the 1/4 of an inch mark, or if you're to the left or to the right, it might give you a little bit of overage there. Okay, so that is ready to go. Where I cut it, I have a little edge over there, so we'll just smear that down, or smooth it down. There we go. Okay, and then we have, yes we do. Where is my little piece of light? You know, you think you're ready. There it is. You think you're ready for a live, you have all your pieces, and then all of a sudden they start disappearing, and you're like, wait, what happened? Okay, so here's our card base. We're going to set this aside for a moment. And then we are going to do some stamping. Now, we have Strawberry Slush, Secret C, Pumpkin Pie, and Cloud Cover. Now I talked about the Cloud Cover ink pad in a previous video. It's just our Cloud Cover pads were not working with our foam. They weren't getting a consistent color, and so they decided not to put out the Cloud Cover in a large foam pad. So this is just an ink spot. It is linen. It does come uninked. You just buy the refill and the uninked spots, and then you ink it yourself. Will the Cloud Cover ink pad come out soon? We don't know. I would dare to say probably not. So, but this works perfect. Okay, so let's get started here. Let's mount some stamps. I just should have done that ahead of time, but it's okay. We can take care of that. Okay, we will need this one, this leaf. We will need, trying to think what else we will need. We will need this one for the big mushroom, this one for the little mushroom. Where to go? Right here. So this one for the little mushroom. We'll need this itty bitty mushroom and this itty bitty stem for that itty bitty mushroom. We will need this piece here, which is the hill or the dirt for the hill. And I think that's it. Okay, so let's put that aside. We will need the happy birthday. Now this is a clear mount, which means it mounts on our clear blocks, but it is the red rubber. And that is the to someone. Okay, so we have our stamps that we need. And then let's stamp a little bit. Okay, we are going to get some blocks here to mount these. Let's see, let's get little itty bitty ones. These little itty bitty guys. I do not carry the little itty bitty ones anymore. It makes me sad because I really like those. I don't believe we do anyway. All right, we're almost there. Yes, I have lots of blocks because I do a lot of stamping and I do a lot of classes, and so this one I know we don't have any longer. Okay, so there are all of our stamps are mounted and ready to go. Do you need that many? No, you don't, but I've been doing this for 27 years, so I have a lot. All right, so let's do this little thing here. Now, if you're following along with me in the catalog, we're on page 89, and this is the card that we are going to recreate, is this one right here. Okay, all right, so we are going to ink up this little branch and Cloud Cover, and I am just going to kind of just do my own thing. Just kind of wing it. So we're going to go here. I'm going to ink it up again. And we're going to go down here. We're just creating a background right now for our mushrooms to sit on top. And two more. You just tap. I like to tap my pad when it's this small, but my pad onto my stamp. Let's see, I'll go right here. Okay, and then we'll put this aside to clean it. And I just use a chamois to clean my stamps, or a baby wipe, depends on what I have handy at the moment. All right, and then let's see. Then we are going to stamp our strawberry slush mushroom. We are going to use some sponge daubers for our two mushrooms. And this is the reason being. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm not too sure if Stampin' Up! Did it this way, but I'm going to do it this way. So we are going to stamp a strawberry slush mushroom, and we're going to stamp it right about here. Now this mushroom is going to be right here, so I'm just going to put that there. I know we didn't do this yet, but I'm just going to put it there so I know. So I inked it up with strawberry slush, but I want to take some of that ink off that is in here with the gills. So I'm just going to take my sponge dauber and take some of that off, because I want it to be really light on the inside of that where the gills are. They call them gills for the mushrooms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it right up here. Let's move all these. And if you're looking for any of these products, you can go to my Stampin' Up website, ninaurjavic.stampinup.net, to look for those supplies. I am giving you the names so that you can just go to the top, go shop now. Once you go to the website, oh my gosh, yeah, words are hard today. Go to my stamp website and go to shop now, and then at the top of the search button, you will then just put in the name, or you can also put the number if you want to get the item, and you can add it to your cart. We're just going to stamp this one over the top, just like that. And then we are going to do the same thing with the pumpkin pie. And as you can see, the gills are just a little bit lighter than what the top of the mushroom is. So we're going to take this little guy, we're going to ink it up real well, and we're going to put it right, whoops, we want to take that ink off the gill. So I'm using the little orange dauber. These are called sponge daubers if you're looking for those in the on the website. Let's tilt this one a little bit. Okay, and then let's get its stem. Okay. Now, on a separate piece of paper, we have to clean these off real quick. We need this one again, so I'm just gonna have my baby wipe real close to me, so I'm just going to take this color off of here. Now here's the cleaner. I did cut mine in half just so I have multiples. You just rub. Even though it's discolored, it's still going to work. It's just because of all of the black ink or the darker color ink. So then what we're going to do is we got to clean this stem too. This is the Simply Chamois. Okay, and we're going to use Secret C on this mushroom. Now this is a punch, so what we're going to do is we are going to put it closer to the edge here. Got a little overzealous with. Now if you notice, what I did is I did not take the blue off. I went ahead and left that one, but let's go ahead and stamp it again and take the blue off. Oops, this is a really juicy pad. Let's take the sponge dauber and just take the ink off of the gills and make those lighter. Okay, we're going to stamp that again right down here. Oops, sorry, I was out of camera. All right. And then we are also going to stamp the stem for this one, which is this one. And we are going to stamp it like this, just because of the orientation of the punch. See how the stem, so when we turn the punch over, see how the stem is? So that's what we're going to do. Okay. And then let's see what else we need. I think that's all we need. Oh wait, we do need the little mushroom. Now the little mushroom gets fussy cutted. You have to fussy cut the little mushroom. There is no punch for him. And we're just going to stamp this right there. And we're just going to fussy cut him out, which is what I did right here. Okay. Let's go ahead and close that up so we don't put anything in that ink pad, because that would not bode well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece off because I'm going to punch it, and I am going to cut this one out just like this. Okay, put these aside for another use. I'm going to open up my punch. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to take a little sticky, either a sticky note or one of these tabs, and use it to hold it because the paper is smaller than what I need or what I can get my fingers in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up so you can see it. You do want to make sure with these punches that you keep this part of your hand away from here, because when it punches, it bites. So you want to be careful so that you do not get your hand. Because let me tell you, it hurts. Ask me how I know. I can't tell you how many times I've done it. Okay, so it does cut it. Let's see. Let me cut off a little bit more because I see that it's going to not cut it out correctly. Okay, so we're going to slide it in here. I like to turn it upside down so you can see where you're going, right? And then just keep your fingers, your hands out of there. Okay, so then here it is. Now, it is thinner than what I stamped, and that is by design. Okay, so that you get the whole thing. All right, so we're going to set that aside. We're going to do the same thing with our mushroom, because our mushroom's getting punched out right here. So we're going to do the same thing. Slip it in there. Now this one's big enough to I can actually hold it. So you just kind of squeeze just a little bit so that you can get it lined up. And then you punch all the way. And so here is this one. Okay. Now I did that again with the orange. I did that again with the pumpkin pie and the large one, the large mushroom cat. There was a attach there. Okay. And then this one is going to be for the inside of the card. So I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to also stamp a stem, but I got to clean it off because it was in the secret C. So clean it off. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, and then I also need, one thing I didn't pull out, is I also need this other little mushroom that I did not pull out. So it's two pieces. It's the stems here and the three little mushrooms. Okay, and we are going to stamp them in the secret C, which is not a black. It is a very deep, deep, dark blue. Let me get a stamp. Get a stamp block. Okay, so then we're going to, and this one will have to be fussy cut. So we're going to stamp it right here, and we're going to put the little caps on top. And they are pretty easy to line up when you're straight on. When you have a camera in your way, it's not so much, but we'll see what we can do. Not too bad. Okay, so there's that. So you cut these two out with the punch. You fussy cut this one, fussy cut that one, which means that you're cutting it by hand, and then you can cut this one out by the punch. So I've done that already. So here's the ones for the inside of the card. Sorry for my reach. This one I did fussy cut out, okay, with my little paper snips. Unfortunately, the paper snips, the vendor that we get these from, are no longer manufacturing these, and these were the best little scissors. I am so sad, so sad. This is the hill that we are going to use. Now, I basically just stamped this. Let's see. Let me get another piece of white here. I just stamped that. Oh, here, we'll use this piece because it is actually a scrap. I used the cloud cover. I like to put these away because there's nothing worse than sitting a perfectly completed card into an open ink pad. It is very disheartening. Okay, so I like to rub some. I like to tap. And this will also be fussy cut. You can't really tell. Oops, let me do that again. What I did is I did not. See, I got some lines there. That's where I rubbed. You really just want to tap. So if you're going to rub to get the full surface, make sure that you tap so it smears out those lines. And that's what I did not do. Okay, much better. So, and then just fussy cut this one out. Okay, and that's what I did here. So now we have all of our pieces. Okay, so I get the ink off of my fingers. I've been getting really inky here lately. Okay, so now we are going to use dimensionals. So we're going to use some dimensionals and put our little pieces down. So this one, we're going to use this one because I like it. We're going to put this one down here. Let's put it up a little further. And then here is our little piece here. Now this one we're going to have to use a little sliver. Because it is not very big. So I'm just going to use a little sliver of this. And this is where you can use all of your dimensionals, not just the round pieces. And we are going to put that on here. Okay, and we're going to take this little paper off. And we're going to adhere it to our little mushroom right here. Okay, isn't it cute? Oh my gosh. And then this little guy, we're going to put a dimensional on him. This one we might be able to do one of these triangles here, a full triangle. I like using these pieces because it gives me maximum use of all of my, of course that's not gonna go on there very well. Okay, let's do another sliver. Okay, let's see. We'll go right here. And we're going to add this to him. I think it's going to be too long. I cut off all of my nails, and now I don't have any nails to pick anything up. So we're just going to snip this off. Take the paper off. And we're going to put him right down here. Okay. Then we are going to splatter. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Now, how we can splatter, we do have this silicone mat right here. Okay, this comes with the Stampin' Glass Mat Studio. It comes with a reusable cloth, and it comes with this silicone mat that has these great little sections. So we are going to put a little drop of cloud cover ink in there. And then we're going to put some water from our brush. I think I'm going to put it up here, on here. Oh gosh, that would have been a mistake, right? Okay. See where there's ink there? And then what I'm going to do, as a matter of fact, I'm going to just take this off. I am going to take a bone folder, grab one out of my drawer. Oh, here's one. And I am just going to smack my brush that has the ink on it onto this, and it splatters my paper. Okay, so let's add a little bit more up here. Okay, don't forget to wipe this off so that you don't touch it and get ink all over you. Okay, so let's set this aside to dry, and let's work on the...
I'm not quite sure how to help you.
My Alexa is trying to figure out how she wants to help me. Let's do the inside of our card. Let's see, where'd that paper go? Okay, so let's do the inside. So make sure this is dry. Well, we're going to splatter the inside too, so make sure that I've got the inside. Okay, so here is the inside, and we are going to splatter the inside as well, but let's do that now so that we don't splatter our other elements that we're going to put on there. So I'm going to do this again. I just picked up some more ink off of my silicone piece here, and then I am just going to splatter. Now this is a little less because I didn't have as much water, but this is a little softer splatter than what it was before. But that's okay, because what it's going to do is it's just going to be a nice light color. And don't forget to clean your brush so that you don't contaminate your next color. Then we are going to go ahead and add our elements to this. We are going to add this background paper that we had left over from when we cut this piece here. So we're going to add this to our card base, but first we are going to add, we're going to see which end, make sure I'm doing the right end. Yep. I am just going to put a little strip of glue there and adhere this to the top of that, just for a little bit of interest, and have that stick out just a little bit. And it doesn't matter if it's too long or too short, because we're gonna, or too long, because we are actually going to trim it off. And we're going to go ahead and glue this down. I'm just going to glue it in the center here, but down towards the bottom. Now with the glue, you have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, we're just going to smear it to make sure the glue gets smeared, and then we're just going to cut these extra edges off. Okay. All right, and we'll just throw those pieces out. Get the glue out of my fingers. It's like, okay, and then we're going to add our little dirt pile. We're just going to add that right here. Right here, and those mushrooms that we cut earlier that I swiped off, we are going to add those with glue to here. We're just going to let it stand up above here a little bit. Where's my stem? Okay, I swiped all of my pieces off, and now they're all over the place. Okay, let's get them. It's okay. We will get it. And then here's, and we have one here, so we're just going to punch this one out. Oops. I think this paper's just long enough for me to be able to hold on to it. Let's add a little bit of glue. That's way too much. Okay, and we're just going to add this to here, and then the other little flower, the little guys that I cut out, these guys, we're going to add some glue onto these. My glue now, this, before my glue wasn't coming out, and now it's really coming out, so we're going to take some of this off and add it down here. Okay. I don't know, how many of you have mushrooms growing in your yard? I do. Okay, so we're just going to hold this here for just a second. And then we are going to get Secret C out. And we are going to stamp our inside sentiment. Making sure it's right side up. Here's our inside sentiment. And then on that little strip of blue cloud cover, this one here, we are going to stamp Happy Birthday. Also in this Secret C. Okay, I think that's pretty good for the camera being at my head, right? Okay, and that one is done. Now I'm going to cut a little flag, and I know you've seen me do this before. Now if you have a punch that cuts flags, absolutely use it. If not, this is how you can do that and create the same look. So you're going to cut down the center, okay, and then you're going to come in at an angle and go right to where you cut that center piece, that center cut, okay. And that one, I want to shorten this one a little bit, okay. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Of course, this side's a little long, so we're just going to come down the center and come in. And that's how you do it. And then you can just keep evening it up. If one side looks like it's longer than the other, or you have too much space between your flag ends and your word, you can just go in and trim it up a little bit. It's pretty cool, right? Okay, so now we're going to bring in our card. Let's get these pieces out of the way. I have a garbage can to my left, so no, I'm not throwing it on the floor. Okay, let's get this piece here. Make sure it's going the right side up. And let's bring in our other piece here. Those are my notes. Let's bring in this piece here. We are going to go ahead and glue this down. Try not to get too much glue to the towards the edges, because it will goosh out. We don't want that to happen. It will just kind of squeeze out and get all over the place. Okay, I'm trying to get nice even. Okay, and then we are going to take our twine here, and we're gonna just cut some off here. We can always cut the tails off, and we're gonna go ahead and make a bow. We're not going to use the bow on top. You can if you want, absolutely. And you know what? I cut that one too short because we want some tails out. So I'll use that for something else. Okay. So we're going to do a bow. And this is just to hold. And we're going to make these loops really big. Like that. Okay? Because this is going to be on top. So what we can do is bring them in a little bit. And we are going to use a glue dot to glue these down. Okay, let me get a glue dot. And we are going to put it now. Some of you are going to have a real hard time with this, but I did it first, but I like it. We're going to put this in the center here, this way. Then we're going to take some dimensionals. Wherever my dimensionals are hiding. Always happens. Always happens. Okay, they hide under all my stuff. Okay. I don't know if you don't know this about me, but I am a messy stamper. I like to have stuff out where I can see it, and it's all over my table. Okay, so here is, and then I have to clean it up so I can start again, right? So we're going to put this right across here. And then we're going to trim these guys off. Just Oops, just a little bit. My scissors got glue on them, or sticky stuff or something. Okay. So see, isn't that cute? Oh my gosh. Okay, then we're going to add this to our card front, but we are going to pop it up. So I am going to use one on each corner and two in the center, just so that it sticks. Okay, and then we're going to use this little handy dandy tool. I know I've talked about this in every video, but I tell you what, it is something that everybody needs. It just helps pick those papers off of those dimensionals and makes it so simple, and it keeps them all there nice and neat so you can throw them all in the garbage at the same time. Then we're just going to add this to our card right there in the center. Okay, and then we're going to open it up, and that piece that we did earlier, we're going to glue on the inside. I like to just put it at the top and at the bottom. And then we're just going to keep our border. And there we go. Our card is done. Now you can add Wink of Stella if you wanted to add some Wink of Stella for some sparkle. You can also add some gemstones if you'd like. Let's see what. Now the one in the catalog does not have gemstones, but I think it needs something sparkly. What do you think? So I am going to go through. How about some strawberry slush gems? That sounds perfect. How about that? I think that's what it needs. I think it just needs a little something for my taste. Okay, so we are going to, do we want the gold ones or do we want the pink ones? I think we need the pink ones. Yes, I think we only need a couple, maybe 3. And we could use any of these colors. Let's do a big one. Let's do a big one up here and do some little ones down here. Yes, I think that's what it needed. Just 3. Just 3. Isn't that cool? I'm so excited. Okay, so this actually concludes day 9. I will have all of the supplies listed on my White 2 channel for you to view. And then I think that is it. I think we've used everything that I needed to use. So what do you think? Pretty cute, right? Pretty simple, cute, can go for anybody. Okay, that's it. Thanks for joining me and have a great day. And I hope you're enjoying this. Again, if you like what you see and you would like to see more, please like, share, follow, and subscribe. I so appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.